Hey, 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 welcome back. Today we're going to talk about your story and about how your story matters, your message matters. And I'm going to share with you a story that happened to me when I filed a bankruptcy and how that bankruptcy ended up helping me save someone's life. I know you're going to love today's show, not because of my story, but because I want to help you tell yours.
Cowboy.
Welcome to a daily dose of greatness class with your host, Trevor Crane, my daddy. He is going to help you take your life and business to the next level.
Here I come to save the day.
Trevor Crane here, 11-time #1 best-selling author and the founder of Epic Author Publishing, coming to you live every day so you can plug in every day to build your ideal business so you can live your ideal life.
If my daddy can do it, then anybody can do it because he's a weirdo.
You're supposed to make me sound cool.
Well, all right. I'm very impressed that you showed up again, and today I'm going to reward you with a strategy. I'm going to give you the #1 strategy that you can use to tell a powerful story, one that can make a difference in somebody's life. And so stick with me just for a second here. I want to give you a little bit of background because in 2007, I found myself at the top of the world, or at least what I thought there was the top of the world. I was in love. I had a phenomenal business. It was making me millions of dollars. I thought that was very cool at the time. I could buy just about anything I wanted to buy. I could go about anywhere I wanted to go. And my daughter was born into my hands in my backyard in our jacuzzi. And I was on top of the moon, on top of the world. But in the next 2 years, I saw everything collapse. By 2009, I had lost all my money, my homes. I owned two. One was my home and one was an investment property. There was nothing like getting chased around and trying to hide my car when they were trying to repossess it. That was very gut punching. And when my woman left me and took my daughter, who is now 2 years old, away from me and left the state, I thought that no one would ever trust me ever again. And when I filed that bankruptcy, I was at the lowest of the low time in my life. But that said, by 2010, I had started to build my life back. Unbeknownst to me, I like the Garth Brooks song, sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. As much as I wanted the first relationship to work out, it didn't, and I found myself in a better relationship. A relationship with the woman that I knew I was meant to be with because I had a journal post I had made years before where I wrote down my ideal woman. And in fact, Robin, who is now the woman I'm married to, and I were dating, and I read my journal one day, and I couldn't believe that she was literally every single thing on my list, except for one thing. She didn't have big boobs. That was on my list. But now we just had a baby, so she's got big boobs now. So I guess I got everything that I wanted. But here's the thing. In 2010, I thought I had my shit together, and everything was coming back, and I was starting to believe in myself. And I had a client who was a phenomenal client, always very happy. That when she'd shown up with me, I was helping her with her business. I've been a consultant now for 15 years, helping people make money in their business. And she's a speaker and a coach and a consultant, which is who I specialize in working with. And I didn't know it at the time, but she was going through some financial issues, and she was $40,000 in debt, and acknowledged to me one day that she was potentially suicidal and she'd been considering taking her life. And now I had just come out of a $2.2 million bankruptcy not 12 months before. And I couldn't believe that she was making such this big deal about a $40,000 debt when I'd gone through the $2 million. But here's the thing. As a consultant and as a coach, I don't judge someone. I was just blown away and surprised that she was so upset. This woman was even an ex-nun. It was the last thing I ever would have thought about. But because I'd gone through my challenges, I was actually able to connect with her in a way I wouldn't have been able to if I'd have just been on top of the world, making all this money and living this quality of life that I think a lot of people would have looked up to and said, this is pretty cool. But I wasn't living the life I was meant to live. In fact, I had to walk through that fire. And when I was able to share the story with her, I was able to align with her and connect with her in such a way where I wasn't judging her, but because I'd gone through it, I could give her some of that pass, that it was okay, that it doesn't mean you're a liar and a sinner and that you're a bad person because you got into a yucky financial situation when things went south. And this is something that I had to deal with. I thought I was a loser when all that stuff was happening to me, but I had to recreate the meaning for myself. But here's my point. I was able to help her because I'd gone through that drama. Drama that very few people want to share. You might hear people bitching about their problems, and you probably hear people whining about them all the time. But here's the thing. I was able to share my story not in such a way that whined and complained and got people's sympathy, but I was able to share it with someone in context to help her change her life. So here's my challenge to you. See, today is not about me telling you about my story. What's more important is your story. And that there's people in your life, people that you love, people that you care about, people that need to hear what you've gone through, that internal or external drama or trauma, and how you're still swinging. See, your message matters. Your story matters every single day. I meet people who want to write their books, and they tell me about their story, and they know that it's powerful, but they can't figure out how to tell their story. And they get too confused. They start at the beginning. They try to throw in everything that's ever happened to them into their story. So I want to give you the number one strategy that you can use to go ahead and get people's attention with your message in such a way that can go ahead and change people's lives. And here is the thing. You want to share the shit. You want to share the scariest, most vulnerable, challenging obstacle that you've gone through. When you associate to the story that you're telling someone, and it has context. Now, here's the caveat here. I guess the step before you use this one secret is that you get clarity about what's your call to action. Like, who are you trying to help in this story, and like, what do you want them to do? Like, what's the context and the purpose behind this, so that it actually has legs? Because if nobody understands what the hell you're talking about, it doesn't make any sense. So you have to give people context. You have to decide your purpose first, I would say. But then after that, I would challenge you that the best story is one that shares the challenge or obstacle that you had to go through. See, we're in a world where authenticity and integrity and vulnerability is the new marketing and branding. It's one that immediately engenders trust in your audience. So the number one secret that you can use to go ahead and tell a powerful story is to tell something that is your fear, or something that has scared you, or some challenge that you've gone through, that skeleton in the closet. So that's my challenge to you today, is to, at the very bare minimum, write your story down. Like, do what I'm doing right now and record your story. Tell your story, at least to yourself, and share how you've gone through the shit, the fan, and share the things that scared you. And don't share it from some perspective where you're not associated to it, like you're a robot. Feel the feelings and the emotions, and give yourself permission to go ahead and get associated to what you were going through at the time. A powerful story that you tell about your life will oftentimes trigger other people to visit their own life and to create their own lessons and meanings in them. Every morning I try to get up and I read something, or I listen to something, or I watch something that's inspirational and helps me, and motivational, and gets me excited. And today I learned about a woman who was an Olympic cyclist, or she was training for the Olympics, and now she was on this ride, and it was the most beautiful day of her life. And the next thing she knows, she was hit by a truck, and she was never able to walk again. And she shared her story. She jumped right into, she took me to life before, how things were amazing, and then she took me through the most challenging time of when she wasn't able to walk again and she was in the hospital. And she took me to all the challenges she had to go through, emotional and everything else, until she was able to build back her life in such a way. And within 12 months, she was flying. She was a pilot. She trained herself to go ahead and become an instructor so she could help others. She said, if I can't walk, I might as well fly. This morning, I watched another video about Arnold Schwarzenegger and about how he was able to build his life from a vision when he was very young, 14, 15 years old, and he saw the vision of what he wanted to create when he was living in war-devastated Austria, where they were going through a depression, and he created a vision for himself, and he shared about the hardships he'd gone through, and it inspired me. Today I heard a story of two young boys, probably 6, 7, 8 years old. They're brothers, and they talked about how much they loved each other, and one of the brothers had Down syndrome that was very obvious. But they talked about how they cared about each other, and all of these stories moved me. See, your message matters. And I challenge you today to just make the decision to share your story. And as I just gave you that challenge, I'd say write it down in your journal, record it into your phone, do whatever, but tell your story in such a way that you actually associate to it in such a way, and then find the lesson and the meaning behind it and share that with the world. Every single day, I meet people who want to tell their story and put their story into a book. It said that 81% of people in the United States want to publish their book. They just don't know how to do it. That's why, one of the reasons why I started my publishing company called Epic Author Publishing. And if you want to go check out my new training, that helps you go from blank page to bestseller, and you can create a legacy by writing your story and turning your story into a powerful book that can change people's lives, go check out my webinar. It's at epicauthor.com. You can check that out and make sure that you write your story. That's my challenge for you for today. And so your message matters. It's time that you tell that story, because there's people out there who need your help. I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. And if you get one thing from today's message, it's this: your message matters. I'll see you tomorrow.
To get even more awesomeness, which means all my best stuff, download my app by texting Trevor to 36260. It will show up right on your cell phone. Just text message the word Trevor to 36260. Talk to you soon.